now listening to the Cowboy From Hell Podcast.
We live?
We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cowboy From Hell Podcast. Today is July 13th, 2020, episode 2. Thank you guys, everyone, for all the positive feedback and responses. Man, couldn't have gone any better, and I'm excited for today's subject matter. But at the same time, I'm also very sad. If I may quote the great modern-day philosopher J. Cole, I want a real love, dark-skinned Aunt Viv love, that Jada and that Will love, that leave a toothbrush at your crib love, and you don't gotta wonder whether that's your kid love. Those words resonated with me for so long, and most recently, it's all fallen apart. If you haven't heard by now, Jada Pinkett Smith cheated on Will Smith. They did a table talk on Facebook, and she came clean about it, and we saw a man's heartbreak on camera. She cheated with a family friend. I'm not even going to say his name because how dare you? How dare both of you? This man, Will Smith, has saved our world from aliens. He has taught us countless life lessons as children, and he just didn't deserve that. He survived a zombie apocalypse, and I don't know if he's going to survive this. Cheating and relationships is today's subject. And a lot of people that know me know that I don't have a great track record when it comes to relationships or cheating. I'm divorced, and I've gotten caught cheating a couple times. And, you know, I take full responsibility from that. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, childhood trauma made me a cheater. No, I just really like women a lot. I remember being in 5th grade, I think it was, excuse me, and my mom dropped me and my friend off at the movie theater, and ironically enough, we were there to see Wild West with Will Smith. We couldn't wait to see it. I was the biggest Will Smith fan growing up, but unfortunately, AMC 20 in Torrance, California was sold out. So we had one other option, and that was the premiere of Spice World, the Spice Girls movie, which is what we saw. I watched the entire movie. I think I was 10 years old, and my mom picked us up, and I got home, and I got in my bunk bed, and I'm sitting there staring at the ceiling, which was probably a foot away from my face, and all I could think of was Posh Spice, who's now Victoria Beckham. I thought about her in that little black cocktail dress and that little bob haircut. Mind you, I'm 10 years old, and I was obsessed. I'm thinking to myself, okay, how old am I going to be when she's this age? And what do I have to do to just find maybe in a casual social encounter with her? How is this going to work? I live in Los Angeles. She's got to be here. Anyways, my point is I was completely obsessed with women at a young age, and I still am. Excuse me. That being said, again, I've had my share of troubles with relationships, and I've made some big mistakes. And it's always the same thing, whether it's just boredom or curiosity. I find myself oftentimes in relationships talking to other girls, which I've recently learned the hard way can really go bad, really go bad. One of my recent ex-girlfriends, this is a very, very interesting story. Please don't message her if you know her. Please don't reach out to her. This podcast is not for that, and I know a lot of you know me, and you know my friends and family, and you know my exes, but we're not going to use any names here. I'm going to try as hard as I can. You're going to know who it is. So many of you are going to know who it is, but it is what it is because this is a very interesting story that involves cheating, that involves relationships, and this is what I thought of when I saw that interview between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. I met a girl in Utah, and we were on our first date, and it was awesome. It turned out perfect. We laughed, we had a few drinks, and we were vibing. It was one of the best first dates I've ever been on. After I go to drive her home, and she goes, you don't have to walk me up to the door. And I should have known something was weird right there, because why would I not walk you up to the door? She kissed me, like ran up to her door and went in the house. No lights came on, and I thought, whatever, no big deal. Our second date was a couple days later. We went to a Halloween party, and she's like, hey, I'm sorry I was so weird, but I have to admit something to you. I'm still living with my ex-boyfriend. And she's like, well, I'm in a different room, but I'm in his house renting a room from him. Now, I should have, if I was smart, I would have known right then and there, get the fuck out of there. say goodnight to her, maybe bury her, and that's it. But instead, I'm a dumbass, and I said, oh, it's okay. I can understand that. Like, you know, you live where you live, and that's no big deal. You know, we're just kind of seeing each other right now. Who knows what's going to happen? But obviously, it did not work out because I learned later. I mean, one of my first questions was, when's the last time you slept with him? Because that would matter. If you guys are still hooking up, then obviously I don't want to pursue a relationship with you. And she said, oh, it's been months. We haven't done anything like that. He's seeing another girl. That turned out not to be true when just a month later she finds out she's pregnant, and the doctor gave her a week window what it could have happened, and apparently she slept with me and him at that same time. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and they think that I just simply was a bad boyfriend to this girl, but that's how our relationship started off, and we tried to salvage it, and it just didn't work out because when someone, you know, cheating and seeing other people, when someone lies to you, it hurts, and you start questioning everything. And I wish she would have, you know, I wish she would have said something earlier, but she waited until we were like boyfriend and girlfriend. And I know this is so stupid, but talking about like getting married after just a month of dating. And so if she would have told me that night on the, we were on a trampoline at the Halloween party. If she would have said that night, I am still seeing him like that, I am still sleeping with him, I would have been able to get over that. I would have been like, okay, cool, let's not date. I'm going to continue to see other people. But instead, she lied and said, it's been so long since that happened. Fast forward, that relationship it was the worst relationship I'd ever been in. It was so dirty. It was another year of me lying and seeing other girls, and I just couldn't let go of all that shit that had happened in the beginning. And it ended up with the cops getting called because she was clawing at my arm. She was so mad. She thought I'd made out with a girl at a bar, and she could have sworn she saw it, which I didn't. She was at the bar with me. It didn't make any sense, but some old man saw us arguing and her tearing at my arm, and I go like this to shield myself, and the old man runs over. He's like, I saw everything, don't worry. And he wanted to call the cops on her, but luckily everything calmed down. No one pressed charges, and we eventually broke up. It's so funny because I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of people that know me, and I know you guys all know who I'm talking about. So again, please don't say anything to her, reach out to her. She's probably going to watch this one day, but that's just what happened. And it was a bad relationship. It started off with lying. And even in my most recent relationship, we've been on and off. We're not together. We are together. And during those times, I got caught talking to other girls. But that's what Jada Pinkett Smith's defense was. She said, you know, Will, we were on a break. We were trying to find ourselves. And that's what's so silly to me. I know so many couples that do that, and it never works out. If you say we were on a break, we were separated, you're not together. You are not together. You cannot try to hold someone accountable for some kind of weird commitment when you're not together. I see it with all my closest friends and family. When people go on breaks, it reminds me of how silly it is to be in couples therapy. And that whole scenario where the therapist is sitting there, you're sitting there with your significant other, and your therapist goes, well, how does that make you feel? Well, how does that make you feel? And eventually you leave the therapist's office, you're at a party with your friends, and he does that thing that pisses you off. And you go, now, honey, remember what our therapist said, we're not doing that anymore. Get the fuck out of here. The point of dating is so simple. You meet someone, you hang out with them, you get to know them, and you decide, do I want to be with this person long term? Yes or no? The problem is we discover that the answer to that question is no. But we've already become so attached through moments together, memories, through sex, that we can't move on. We can't just say, okay, this isn't working, and move on, because now we're attached and we're fucked. We're so screwed because, again, we get so attached, and sex makes it even worse. And on the subject of sex, for me, I know this is a sexist opinion and people are going to get mad at me for this, but it just feels so much worse when a girl cheats versus when a guy cheats. If you look at a man, if you ask a guy about the women he slept with before, there are going to be some monsters in everybody's closet. And beyond monsters, I have literally had sex with 2 couch cushions before when I was a teenager. I was like 14, 13 years old, and I was so horny all the time, and I was like, what can I do about this? And obviously, you know, you're a kid. So I put 2 couch cushions together. I gave myself a burn. It didn't feel good, and I still climaxed. And that's how disassociated with sex that men can be. So ladies, when a guy cheats on you, you really need to let it go, and you really need to understand we can have sex with anything. One of my favorite movies from childhood was American Pie. The guy had sex with a pie. So if your man cheats on you, don't sit there and go, oh my gosh, is she prettier than me? Is she better in bed? Dude, she is an apple pie fresh out of the oven sitting on the fucking counter. She is not better than you. He was just bored, and you know, God gave us these testicles full of testosterone. They control every thought and decision that we make. Keep that in mind, ladies. Keep that in mind. But the reverse of that is when a woman cheats. It is so different because biologically, physiologically, men can produce sperm until we're 90 years old, till the day we die. That thing can pump out children. There have been men that have sired kids 80 plus years old, which is disgusting, but it's happened. Women have these eggs, and these eggs are supposed to be cared for and protected. Every time you have a menstrual cycle, you lose some of those eggs. The eggs you're born with are the eggs that you have for the rest of your life. And once those eggs are gone, they're gone. And we know what happens. Women become infertile, and they can no longer have children. So every time you let a man enter that area of your body and enter and put those eggs at risk, it's a much bigger deal than some dude jacking off on a couch cushion. Do you get what I'm saying? And I hope this sinks in, because when a girl cheats on a guy, that's all he can think of. All he can think of is, wow, you let him in. You let him in. He had so much importance in your life that you risked letting him violate those eggs. Oh my God. Okay, don't quote me on this one. But anyways, moving forward, Jada, how dare you? I'm sure Will hasn't been perfect, but man, all I could think of was Uncle Phil. And all I could think of was Will walking into that house in Bel Air, and he sees all the couches gone. Or the even better when his dad leaves him and he says, Uncle Phil, why doesn't he want me? Oh, my heart. When I heard Jada say that word entanglement, bitch, entanglement. Oh my, I'm probably going to be using that term for a while now. Have you ever hooked up with her? I mean, I wouldn't say I hooked up with her, but I've been entangled with her a couple times. That's insane. That was actually very smart by Jada. Another subject that's brought up to me was, does hooking up, if a girl hooks up with a guy who's lame, if you find out that a girl hooked up with someone that's not that cool, does that affect her own market value? And I have to say yes. You know, I have some pretty interesting friends, especially friends I grew up with. I'm not trying not to say any names, but I know a lot of you assholes out there are going to know who I'm talking about. My boy has been through some stuff, and he's a little weird. He's a little eclectic, and I was dating this girl. Well, not dating. We were just talking and hooking up, and I'd found out that she'd made out with him. Just made out with him. Not even hooked up with him. And I couldn't get over it, because I was like, dude, if that is your... And again, this is not the same for men and women, unfortunately. It's how the standard is, but... if that's the guy that you were willing to make out with or hook up with, that's just, I can't get over that. I couldn't get over it. And all she did was make out with the guy. It was like, why can't I get over that? But it's that same thing that, like, I don't know. Women have, you guys, you don't have to, but you should have a higher standard than us. Such a double standard. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. I feel bad for girls. You know, a lot of guys struggle to get chicks and struggle to talk to girls at bars. I mean, some of my most successful friends have a hard time with it. And some of my least successful friends, and when I say successful, I'm just talking financially, which is all that matters to a lot of people is money. But some of my poorest friends are feasting on new chicks every weekend. Well, some of my richest friends are still with the couch cushions. And the reason that is because, or at least I think the reason that is, if you look at a women's list for things a guy to have, she wants a guy who's going to be athletic, strong, funny, nice, responsible, makes her feel good, makes her feel like a woman, makes her feel safe. It's like this long list. So if a guy has those things on his list, he's going to get chicks. A guy's list it starts with a hole, preferably wet, and moves all the way down to, in the words of Patrice O'Neal, can you read? And then we'll eventually get to, how does she make me feel? Is she funny? Blah, blah, blah. So, ladies, if you keep that in mind, it's very clear that, when you look around this world, based on women having that list that men need to check off, if a guy has those things, he's going to be getting chicks. If a guy doesn't have those things, he's going to struggle. But ladies, there's so many hot chicks everywhere, especially in a place like the South Bay. What else are you bringing to this table? I love the numbers game that guys play. You walk up to a girl at a bar, oh, this one rejected me, this one rejected me. Eventually one of these girls is going to be like, okay, cool, let's hook up, whatever. But with women, you really should consider giving yourselves a look in the mirror and thinking, how many boxes do I have on this checklist for a guy to check off? And when you look in your mirror and you ask yourself that question, you should also ask yourself this question, how many boxes am I checking off? Because I probably I'm willing to guess it's not a lot. So if you are lonely or you are alone and having a hard time, men or women, it's probably because your standards are a little too high. That being said, moving on, how much are you willing to put up with for a pretty face? Like I just said, there's a lot of beautiful women out there, and you keep moving on to the next one until you find one. What I see a lot is, and even in my own life, another one of my ex-girlfriends, dating back years before, fan of the show, I met her when she was a lot younger than me. I think I was 26 and she was 19, and at the time, I was like, wow, this is the hottest chick I've ever seen. She's European, she's tall, she speaks another language, she's skinny. And I was willing, she's a great person, but dude, I hated her sense of humor. I hated her social interactions with people. And I hated the way that she made decisions. Like throughout her whole day was based on emotion. She had not a logical bone in her body. And I couldn't stand it, but I was willing to put up with it because in my mind, she was so fucking hot at the time. And I think to myself, okay, how much are men willing to put up with? How much was I willing to put up with? Dude, for almost 4 years, I put up with this shit just because she was pretty. I shouldn't say, my producer brings up a great point. There's this crazy hot meter. And, the hotter they get, the crazier they get. But dude, Jason Crane is our producer. It's funny because he just made this graph, but you can just say, hey, crazy hot meter. You know what I mean?
Crazy hot meter.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think, I saw a funny TikTok this morning. Yes, I'm 33 and I go on TikTok. It's so hard not to. It's some funny ass shit on there. I saw a crazy hot meter. This girl, not crazy hot meter. I saw a TikTok. This girl's looking at the camera and she goes, gentlemen, if your girlfriend is an absolutely psycho, trying to look at your phone, asking who every girl is you interact with, waking up in the middle of the night with thoughts about killing you, if she's not that crazy, your dick game is whack. And that was so fucking funny to me. It's so funny to me because that crazy hot meter says the hotter a chick is, the crazier she is. The word crazy is unfortunate for women, but the fact of the matter is, I think most girls, if they're making that commitment towards you and they're giving you their body and their heart, they're going to get insecure. They're going to get a little bit, wacky. But, guys can be wacky too. Love and sex makes us all a little crazy. So my original point in this section was about how much men are willing to sacrifice for a pretty face. And man, I have seen some sacrifices. It's so hard to let go of that chick. The hotter she is, the harder it is for you to just go, okay, come on, dude. You don't even fucking like her. You don't even like her. Then you see her get out of the shower. She's drying off with her towel. And it's like, oh, fine, I can put up with it a little bit longer. Dude, you know what the stupidest shit is hiking. Hiking is the dumbest fucking activity. And there's no way any dude is saying, hey, bro, you want to go on a hike? No, the only reason anyone goes on a fucking hike is to get laid or to get a girl to like them. There's no reason for any dudes to be going on hikes. It's such a feminine activity. The fact that any of us are going on hikes just shows you we're willing to do a lot for a pretty face. Like,
You really shit on hikers there.
I did. I'm sorry. And you know, one of my favorite hikers is Hiker Holloway, Max Holloway. If you guys watched the UFC fights this weekend in Abu Dhabi, it was brutal watching Max lose. I don't know how he went from relationships and sex to this, but it's been on my mind. It's been on my heart and soul. Volkanovski definitely lost the first 2 rounds. There's no way he dominated or had any kind of an edge in the next 3. I don't know. I don't want to bore you guys with UFC talk or MMA talk. There's a lesson to be learned right there, though. For all of you new fight fans, when you ask your friends, oh, are you into UFC? That's just like asking a basketball fan, are you into NBA? The sport is called MMA, just like the sport is called basketball. You wouldn't ask someone, are you a fan of NBA? Anyways, moving forward, the one thing I want to address, last night, I was leaving the beach. I got into a little argument with someone, and it brings this whole thing full circle. Recently in my life, you know, I've been on and off with this girl, and I do love her. She is really cool. She's amazing, but she refuses to tell her family about us, and it means I told her, okay, when you're ready to do that, you know, let's just be off until then. And so we'll break up and we won't talk to each other for a couple of days. I think we made it a week once. And then slowly we start hanging out again. And we just can't stop hanging out with each other. But it's created this middle ground where, again, are we together? Are we not together? For some reason, people in this fucking town, people in my social circle, love to talk to her about, 1, us being broken up, 2, what I'm doing if I'm talking to other girls. And so some crazy shit has gone on recently with, you know, one of the other girls that I was talking to. She wanted to talk to her and sit down, and that blew up. It was a mess at the beach, and all my friends and mine, and we're all arguing, yelling at each other. One of my friends is going through a divorce right now. He reaches out at me, and he goes, hey, man, I don't think you should have gotten so mad at everyone. And I said, dude, you have no fucking clue what it's like to be someone like me who is very polarizing. People think because I'm so outspoken and I'm so, you know, I would say aggressive, rambunctious, people think because I'm like this and I have this personality that, oh, it's okay to shit on him. It's okay. He's already crazy. Unfortunately, it's not okay. I'm just like everyone else. Just because I'm outspoken, I don't think you should have any kinds of I don't think you should be comfortable coming at me in any sort of way. But someone did, and I told my friend that was going through the divorce, I was like, imagine if one of these random people at the beach, someone you call like a friend or associate, reached out and started having conversations with your wife that you're separated with right now. You'd be pissed. And he's like, oh yeah, I kind of get it. And so last night we're leaving the beach, and a guy that I know, grew up around, is so weird. He decides to corner that girl that I was talking about and say, hey, are you guys together right now? And she's like, why? And he goes, well, have you always been together? You've been breaking up? And she's like, yeah. And she was uncomfortable. He was drunk. I was drunk. I'm cleaning up the beach, and he's talking to her and makes her feel uncomfortable, walks away, and she tells me. So I go up to him and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Well, why do you have anything to say to her? And he goes, what are you going to do about it? But, you know, I'm old school, so I'd like doing things about it. And, you know, if you know, one day I might get in real trouble for beating someone up, but he needed to get slapped around. And so, just like Jada Pinkett Smith, she might need to get slapped around by another woman, not a man. You know, I think a lot of us need, including myself, we all need to get slapped around a little bit more. Cheating is bad, it is wrong, but you know, if I was friends with Will Smith, and now I'm all over the place right now. So let me loop this back in here, okay? Today's theme of the episode was cheating. Today's theme was sexuality and relationships, and it's a wild, dirty world out there. So my only advice to everyone is, when you hear stories of other people, when you hear gossip, when you hear something bad happen in a relationship, someone cheated, someone might have done this or that. When you hear that, because I love gossip as much as the next person. I listen to it and I think, oh, this is extremely entertaining. I laugh about it. I converse about it with my friends, and I move on. I'm not going to reach out to the people involved unless they're a friend of mine, which I've done before. And so if they're a close friend of mine, I've said, hey, bro, just so you know, this is being said. And they take care of it in their own way. It's so odd to me for people to reach out to people that you don't know about. You don't know. There's so much you don't know about. So unless it's one of your best friends, just shut the fuck up. Laugh about it, have a drink, and then move on with your life. Please stop reaching out to people. Oh my God, you're gonna have to edit some of this out, dude. You're definitely gonna have to edit some of this out. Jada Pinkett Smith, how could you cheat on our boy Will? I mean, there's so much going on in this world right now, and even within those two, someone said Will Smith was a part of a child sex trafficking ring. Who knows what's true? I don't know if he is or not. Times are so fucking crazy in this world right now. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to get involved in. Let's just do our best to live our best lives, guys. Anyways. Dude. Episode 2. God bless you all. We'd like to thank our one and only sponsor right now, Butt Snorkeler. We'd like to thank Matt Smith and the boys over at one of our favorite companies for supporting us in these first 2 episodes, helping us get the word out. Anyone who's interested, email us at, I think our email address is cowboyfromhellpodcast@yahoo.com. At gmail.com. Cowboyfromhellpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, Butt Snorkeler. Thank you, Jason Crane. All right.